Let there be peace and love. Welcome to Satsang. Every form, every name is the self. When the mind interferes, what is the mind? It is what? It is a kind of crocodile. He's eating everything which moves. So when the mind interferes, at once he wants to own whatever he sees. So an owner is created, an object of greed is there, and interpretations of everything. As the pride of the mind thinks he can interpret everything, translate everything. So, if you don't use your mind for at least the split second to realize who you are, there is no problem with forms and names, and no form and no name. There is no distinctions. So, just to say again that it is the mind, not seen as unreal by nature, not see its nature which comes and goes, which goes on changing. It is the mind which makes these all hallucinations and beliefs, and so the suffering of loss and the pleasure of gaining, which is always, sometimes, it's always temporary happenings. So at some point in time, one is fed up, one is or despaired or exhausted to run always with the suggestions of the mind. So satsang is created by this demand to be helped to not to go anymore with the general beliefs and movements of the world. And at some point one can hear, you have to just realize who you are, which is always there. But for that you have not to use your mind, because it cannot be known, and something can be known only by the mind. It cannot be felt, it cannot be sensed. It cannot be anything you can imagine about that. It remains unknown because you are it. You are directly it. There is no need of any means to reach it. You directly are realized. Now, so don't use your mind to solve the suffering or to solve what's real or to realize yourself. It's the same. That's all I can say. And if you have any question, or if you want to deepen your own experience or convictions, please tell, because I cannot guess what drives you. And you know, everything is written in books. In books like the one I received from you, in Bhagavad Gita, everything is written of what not to follow and what is to realize and so on. Everything is there. And yet, as it will be read by a heart veiled by the mind, it may not be rightly understood or rightly taken, because the mind is a movement, and then he will totally believe that it is with another movement that the search will be solved. It is exactly when you don't take any movement that it is at once the self is revealed and the search is dropped. Ben voilà. So it's not correct to think one has to hear comments on scriptures, for example. He has just to reheard the same words read but alive. It's different. Because the truth which is exposed doesn't need any comment. It would be too much of an understanding and too much a knowledge of the mind. It's this mysterious or magical way. It has to be reheard. The words coming from the same place than from where they have been printed.
Ganga. I'm in Satsang, but I'm still often caught in the movements of my mind. I really want to drop this.
And why do you think it is what you are which is caught? If you are searching what you really are, you want to realize. So you have to know that it is not a movement of the mind. So is it not enough to to stop the belief that you were caught by the mind. Somebody is caught by the mind. The mind and somebody and the object, it's the same. This is called mind, huh? The subject, the relation and the object, whatever object it is. Yeah? So if you know I am caught, from where do you know that?
From my mind.
No.
I mean, my mind tells me this story I'm caught.
If you know that you are caught, from where do you know that? If you reply from my mind, you are in a total vicious circle,
Yes.
which is a fantasy, which is not happening like that.
I don't know if that from what is conscious about all of them.
You cannot
That
know.
knows. Yeah.
There is something which is conscious, or I'm caught. Suddenly you realize I'm caught with my mind, yeah? But are you what you describe? Are you I'm caught?
No, for sure not.
Surely not.
Surely not. Yeah.
Then who are you? What is your real self then? You don't know. But you are it all the time. You are it. If you simply keep quiet a second where you always are, but you don't use your senses and mind to know what it is, maybe once for all you will not be troubled to see that, oh, sometimes this game is I am identified, sometimes this game is that I see I am caught. This is the nature of duality. Huh? Sometimes right, sometimes wrong, sometimes identified, sometimes not identified. But when you are aware of that, why do you reply, it is my mind? He wants to own everything. So he will say, it is I who is suddenly aware. No, it is a false interpretation. You keep quiet from where you can see that. To acknowledge, to allow the self to reveal itself. And then you will, even if this happens, you will not ask the question, that because there is no trouble there. Where are you when you hear this? What is pointed out when you hear this?
What you are pointing to?
Yeah.
To myself.
And why don't you stay quite there? Have you to search yourself for yourself?
Yeah.
No. You're sure?
Yes. That's true.
So you are it. If you have not to search anywhere, it must be that you are it. But you, for some reason, you may think still that you have to realize, because I use all the time this word. Actually, it's not correct also. It's just to say, you have to click, or you have just not to use your mind, because now you know it will never be obvious through any senses or mind. And that's how to keep quiet here makes sense. To keep quiet where you always are. It makes sense. So have you ever gone somewhere else from here? If I bring you your question from here, you don't move from here, and you ask me, sometimes I'm still caught by my mind. You describe what?
The movement.
Movements. And movements are what by nature? They come and go.
Yeah.
They go on
Come.
changing.
Yes.
Unreal
Yes.
by nature. Unreal. So, who are you to see that? I'm that which is real, which is always there, which enables me to see things changing. You will not have an experience about it. You just have to love more, to already be yourself, to love more, to give up this belief or this greed for an experience. Because this is peace. The rest will not be peace. Hein?
Probably this.
Mais quelque chose était le baiser. Maybe there are more spiritual books which relates a Big Bang experience. Probably 99% of the books. They express that there will be a Big Bang, and that, of course, this is the way to get realized. If you don't have the Big Bang, means you're not yet realized. Then the other person which express it will never be an experience because it's always there, and because there is, you don't use your mind, so you don't use anybody to own it or to experience it. So, with this very clear understanding, you have to keep quiet. And when the desire or this compulsion to, but I have still to feel it, or whatever, you just let it go. Then it will not come often after that. You let it go. It creates again circle, vicious circle, and beliefs. So I will not go there anymore.
Can see this.
Yeah.
Clearly.
Many say, it's a very... Yeah. You see, the third one is not yet clear about what is liberation. After all, what's liberation is to hear you are that. And that would stop this endless search. But, what I wanted to say, something great, wait. Come.
Gone with the wind.
It slipped. We'll come back, maybe. So often, this waiting for the experience of liberation brings at the same time, it's the same package then, and then the personality will be different. I will not be identified anymore. I will be probably more detached, and so on, you see.
This I don't
No,
really believe.
but identification, yes.
Yeah.
Okay, everybody has his cup of tea. It is your identification, okay? But it's the same, actually. It's in the same bag, you see? We expect, because we expect ideal life as we conceive. For you, it may be, I will not be identified in this life, or whatever, things like that, you see. All that has to go. You cannot carry that with you. Just leave it. There is no reality in all these things. And whatever attainments are there, they are temporary. So it's of no use also. So, when this thought comes, oh, I've been identified, I'm still a lot. What you will do with that thought?
Don't enter there.
Okay. Okay. And don't invent another thought which is more interesting. That can be the end of the cycle. You want that?
Yeah, very much.
What do you want? This or that? It is, in other words, same words, but other words. I just, between two clouds, there is an interval. It's the same as to say, you can see the cloud, you can see a thought, so you are that which can see it, okay? So, between two clouds there is an interval. In that interval, you are the same that saw the cloud, and you are the same when there is no cloud. That is referred as that. You are that, which is always there. Cloud or no cloud. Okay? So, there is an interval, and that interval is the blue sky. Slow down the thoughts and look into the intervals. Means slow down the thoughts. Don't be curious about thoughts or clouds. Don't be curious. For once. They have always very interesting shapes and colors and whatnot. But for once, leave them alone. Be freed from this hypnotism they create. Yeah? Yes, look into the intervals and pay more attention to the interval than to the cloud. It's the same, as I said, with another more poetical way. Isn't it? Exactly the same?
Yeah, it's the same.
It's the same. Okay. First thought has left, other is not a reason. That is freedom. That is consciousness. That is your own place, your own abode. You are always there. You see? Okay. That's all the teaching is. Know that this awareness is what you are. This is your own abode. Stay here. You never leave here. But stay here because you believe you are always with clouds. And stay here. No one can touch you. Who can enter here where you are? Even your mind cannot enter. Even your mind. and so many beautiful. But it's just what was said. All beings are this one immaculate screen. There is no need for practice to clean the dust off it, because it's beyond everything. The teachers who want you to do lifetimes of practice can clean this dust off their own minds. Anyway, you see? So inquiry should continue every moment of your life, naturally like the act of breathing until your last breath. The habits of why? The habits of the mind are very hard to break. The habits to believe I am lost, I am identified so many times. This is a habit of the mind, to believe so. Okay. The habits of the mind are very hard to break, and so it must be continued. You have been ignorant for years. So when you know the truth, you must stay as such for some time. You have to be strong. Question the mind unceasingly. Decide to never return to stupidness. Once you are in silence, stay silent as silence.
Whose words is?
Papaji, this. Yeah. That's why, you see, we are in the most perfect school.
Ganga,
Yeah.
I will never go back to stupidness.
Oh, what a wonderful decision. Now, I honor this. Let us see if you honor this. Yeah? Then you have to bow down to him. To nobody else. Very good. You see, that has to come. That fire has to come.
When I was a child, I had sometimes this experience of being myself.
And you knew it was yourself.
No, now I'm not know it.
Yes.
At that time I didn't know what it was.
Yes. So in yourself there is no time. So just be what you have known, as you say. That has no age, you see, what you called when I was a child, I knew that. That has no age. That's always there. It's now there, here.
And it's not an experience.
It is not an experience. What is an experience is to be relieved from experiences. And it's not even that experience. That what you are is not an experience. You already are it. How can it be an experience?
So maybe it's not that, because I took it as an experience.
Yeah, afterwards. Afterwards. If you were meeting a master, and if your mind would have been matured enough, when he tells you that's your own real self, all the rest is just creation, manifestation going on, which goes on changing. Maybe you would not have searched. It's all a question to meet, because you see many people have glimpses of themselves, but they didn't, first of all, the context was maybe not there about the self, the search and so on. And so they never knew that the mind has not to be followed after that. But now you're here. Let the mind flow as it is according to your circumstances, but don't confuse yourself with the flow of mind. That has no age. What you saw as a glimpse, because I call it a glimpse because you listen to your mind after, you see. That is the same that you may touch now. But now you hear something, a blessing. Don't listen to your mind after that. At least give a time not to listen to your mind. To have this obvious print of this fact that you are it. And then after, it will be natural that everything which flows, which has a movement, is just a creation, played on you, seen on you. Do you follow? If there is anything still obscure of what you hear in satsang, please don't keep it obscure. And if you feel that you go back to a refuge in yourself, you can try to describe me what it is. Is there anybody in expectation, quite hidden, but in a corner of the mind, expecting to realize? Or is it clear, it's just whatever, you tell me?
You said now it's trouble, like, because there is. Because there is a really strong decision in me not to follow experiences and not to believe. And sometimes sometimes I can really I am not what I experience, and who I am can never be experienced because I will lose it. I will lose it I will lose it. It will go. And
What will go?
Whatever I experience, whatever I think of myself.
Yeah. But then if you know that so well.
But sometimes I don't have this, like when you say breathe, sometimes when you speak like this, I have a question mark in me when you speak like this.
But then it's because you consider the time. In time, you may be sometimes in such a quite a space. And then you feel it's more real, it's more the flavor of the self. But because it's the time, it's temporary, so it will be with, it will go on changing. It will be after an identification or an agitation. But you are now of the two. You are now of the two. Then it will not trouble you if this wave of silence, let's say, or of self is there, or if the wave of the other, even though you may be troubled in the agitation, but you know it's circumstances, you know it's the body-mind concerned, you know it's not who you are. Because if you expect in time, I tell you, you are breaking your head on an utopia. You can't solve that in time. It's impossible to have only silence in time. Impossible. And those who can do in between silence, in between nirvikalpa samadhi, let's say for the yogis, they have to make tremendous effort of practice to maintain that. So it's no fun also. They don't tell because they love the result. But they have to maintain it. What is this reality that you have to maintain? And who is maintaining it? Still someone. So in time, don't expect to be all the time the self. The experience of the self.
I think this is what this is exactly.
Yeah, it is exactly.
Yeah.
So when the experience of the self or silence is there, you see, welcome it. You cannot do anything else anyway, as you have to welcome anyway the rest. But no, it's a flavor of the self. I love it, but still, I will not fool myself thinking it is it. It's obliged, otherwise all your life you will stay in this kind of search, no search. And you will not be able to solve it as a mind, as somebody who has got this experience. So free yourself from even being attached to this beautiful gift in life. It's a beautiful gift. Most of the world doesn't even know those space of silence, let's say, isn't it? But it's just.
So what is this Ganga? Like what is this? What is it? Is it a taste? Is it?
I can even say it is it. But the problem is that you listen to the mind after. And it's exactly what Babaji said. You stay as much as you can in this interval to have this print to make it obvious. Let's say like that. I mean, it's an image, but. And then you will be never fooled by any experience. Let it be the experience of the self. Well, I speak of me. Okay, I'm very busy. Okay, mind is busy, body is busy. Not only, but let's say, when I come to satsang, I sit. I'm quiet. My mind doesn't work. There is no agitation there. I'm very, very, and I appreciate, I love it. But I'm very, very, very thankful and happy I don't take it, even this experience, for it. I just love it. It's a gift of myself to have this kind of space. But I don't depend, I don't believe that the experience is it. It's very important. Because then you give up, you see, you give up trying to figure it out, because finally, thinking that an experience of, I don't know what you would call it, silence, or even the self, let's say, when it is there, then everything has to become everything has to be there, and I am in trouble because it's impossible. Of course, it's a time experience. Because of your search, because of your devotion and your seriousness in that search, you have access to those experiences. But still, at some point you have to hear, it's not even that. Nothing will do. Nothing. It's totally uncompromising. And what a freedom, what a relief. Is it so? But you have always been yourself, even now, you know. So it's not it will never be shown through an experience. What is shown is the different rainbow, which is ad infinitum, of the creation. But it doesn't show what you are. Or everything is that, but not particularly an experience. I don't know if I make myself clear to you, but try to catch. You see an experience which can go, or an experience which was not there before, or that you have known before, but you have to go back there or repeat that. It cannot be that. It cannot be that. What is not here now, whatever circumstances you are put in, it's not it. Just have this, I don't know, this radical clarity. I don't know what to say. One is too used to be compassionate with his own mind. Too used. And it will not serve you. It cannot depend on anybody, cannot depend on any circumstance you see what you are. It cannot depend on any understanding, on any concept. So just give up to try to catch it, to fix it in a certain way. Or give up to believe, oh, now it's it. If it was not there before, it's not it. For that, you see that the ways of Raman and Papaji are great. Because if you still work, or you still don't hammer the reality of this I, it's quite, well, I think it's easier, let's say like that, if you inquire if you try to let this I go back from where it came, with this famous question, you see, who am I? Who am I? And you keep quiet where the question disappears again and again and again. Once it will be that, you see. It's not with an arrogant, and I say arrogant when even to feel I am born is an arrogance. It's not with this arrogance that one can take what is said in satsang. This I has to go back, has to humble, not in the sense of humbling. He has to lose its reality. How? Only when it goes to its disappearance. Otherwise, it will not work. Who am I of Ramana? Keep quiet of Papaji. They are really precious, the most precious expressed indications. So, if maybe you will take time to understand what it means, once you see, you wake up.
It's clear there is an expectation.
It's sorry.
It's clear there is an expectation for me because, like this, when I was a child, the past and the present, the past and the future, everything was connected. There was no. That's how I saw it afterwards, maybe. That everything is one.
Yeah.
And later also. So of course there's an expectation that everything will be
One.
one. Or
You see, you expect to have an experience of oneness, which we can have. This experience exists, but it's still an experience. What you are, nobody can even say it's one. We know that it's not two. So you expect, because it was the most relieving experience, maybe the most beautiful for you. So that's your ideal. You expect to fulfill and to live your ideal. It's how the mind interprets, you see. Many are into oneness.
I mean, it's just a way of describing it.
I know, but it's a way to describe. I don't think there is any even way to describe what you are. We have one word, that. Tattvamasi, it's in Sanskrit. More than that we don't have. Nowhere it's written oneness. It's the ideal of the man. You see, man suffers because of the multiplicity. So he finally feels at peace when there is an experience of oneness, which can happen, of course, in layers of the mind, of consciousness. There are deep layers, and it can be also there. So you were in contact with that, or you interpreted things like that. Whatever can be gone, whatever is gone, it's not it. And
This is my mind describing it, and this is what I see as I also, the one who is describing. And I ask, who am I? It's always actually objective.
it's always objective.
The I, it's not a subject. When I ask, who am I never ask the subject question.
How can you ask an object when you say the question? When
I is it's a mind constructing I.
Oh, you are complicated.
I know.
Okay.
My personality is the I, and it's also the mind.
It's only the mind. Personality and mind is the same. Yeah.
So I ask, who am I? I never come
From where it comes.
away from that.
No, because you bite the eye as a bone at some point where the bone disappears, so the biter is also disappearing. But you don't go there. You stop before you land somewhere else.
Yeah.
Ah, don't land. Don't land anywhere. Finally, it's only that. If I don't give up the bone, who am I will still be a dog. I'm so happy. Yeah? It gives you the sense of existence, you see. So, check yourself. Do you want to be free or not?
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Lose the bone. Thank you very much.